high and high and high. It is Friday, Friday, and we're going to have a good time. We are really, I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I am ready. I am so ready for Friday. It's nice to just kind of chill, and if you've had a busy, crazy week, well, hopefully you're enjoying it and things calm down, and now you're like, yeah, Fridays, it's Paranormal Fridays, and it is. So hello to all you guys, and I appreciate you guys being here. So thank you so very much. Niagara Falls, Canada, beautiful. Okay. Well, there's a lot of questions already, and I do appreciate. There's a lot of questions, but just keep in mind that we're just started, and I'll get to your questions. I promise you, we'll get to them, and we're gonna have lots of interesting things to talk about. Lots of interesting things, and now we're going to. I don't know, boy. I tell you what, if your week has been like mine, then you probably are like, oh, thank God, it's finally just time to relax. You know what I mean? Okay. England, my goodness. It's amazing. There's so many people from all over, and that's what I love about, doing shows, coming together and chatting with you guys. And hello to you guys on TikTok and moderators from TikTok. Howdy to you guys. And hello to all you people. My name is Bishop James Long, and a lot of people recognize me as from the Ghost Adventure show I did with Zach and the Bobby Mackey's, and of course there's a whole host of other networks throughout the 20 years I've been doing this. Pretty much the History Channel, National Geographic, you name it, I've probably been on it, because 20 years ago when I first started, there was no Catholic clergy helping the paranormal community. I was it. There was nobody doing it except there was me. And there we go. And so I started it, loved it, and have been doing it ever since. And there we go. There are a lot of questions that people have that's already kind of throwing at me, and I do appreciate all the questions. I'll get to them today. We're gonna talk about demonology and possession today, kind of refresh a lot of things that we've talked about. But I know that we have a lot of new folks coming in, and I talked to my sister Shannon. Shannon said, "Hey, why don't you talk about this?" And certainly will. And we're going to talk a lot about other things as well. That I think some stories I'm going to share with you. Also, I do have again the show and tell. So I have a brand new item that I have never ever shown you, and I will be talking about that and where that came from, and that's going to be very very interesting. Again, people ask me questions about this person or that person. Please understand that a lot of people I don't know. The reason being because there's a lot of people who've just popped up out of nowhere, and then they say that they've been doing this for 30 years. Guys, it's simply not true. It's just not true. I've told you this before. The first the first time I investigated a place was 35 years ago. That was at Waverly Hills when it was abandoned. That was my first time that I ever investigated a haunted location. Now, I've been doing this ministry for 20 years, and I'm telling you, because I was there, I know I was in the paranormal community. And again, the way we communicated was through Yahoo groups, because MySpace and Facebook, all that stuff didn't exist. So I know the clergy who were involved in the paranormal, and there was actually one other person, and that was it. And because again, if you were in the paranormal community, you belong to the Yahoo groups. It was me and Father Andrew Calder, and Father Andrew Calder was an Episcopalian, and that's it. That's all. And he wasn't called to serve as an exorcist. He didn't want to perform exorcisms because that wasn't what he felt he was called to do. So I went public with my ministry 20 years ago. I didn't want to go public with my ministry. I wanted to stay private. And that's just what I wanted. But there were so many people, so many of my friends in the paranormal community said, James, there's no clergy helping. And that's why I went public. I know who was there 20 years ago because I was there. So it seems like I'm deeply troubled with so many people claiming to be, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've been doing this for 50 years. But one person said they've been doing it for 35 years, and they're 37 years old. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? It's that kind of nonsense. But that does happen, and it happens a lot. I mean, they're 37 years old. They've been doing it for 35 years. Okay. You get the point. You get the point. But this has been happening a lot where there's people who've claimed that they've been doing this for all these years, and it's just simply not true. It's just not. The old timers who've been in the paranormal community, who has served the paranormal community, we know who has been there and who is not. So anyway, what I'm trying to say to you is if you contact somebody for help and they're clergy and they claim they've been doing this for 30 years, be careful, because I know who was there. So just be careful about that. Because a lot of people, that's what they do now. They're saying, well, I've been there for 50 years, and because they're trying to establish credibility because they haven't earned it yet. See, that's the trick. That's the trick in the paranormal community. That's what's going on now. A lot of people are saying, well, I've been doing this for 30 years, and they're 37 years old. Well, the reason is they're lying, and they are, is because they want to establish credibility, because they haven't earned that credibility. And the way you earn it is by putting in the hours, putting in the work, taking on cases, traveling to people's homes, answering calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what establishes credibility. And that's what I've been doing now for 20 years. And I'll continue to do it until the day I breathe my last. So anyway, I just want to give you, that's what's happening behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Shannon Long 30, before I finish, well, yeah, we're just started. Before I finish, I just want to make sure that, are you going live? If Shannon Long 30 could tell me if you're going live tonight, that would be fantabulistic. And then I'll let you guys know. Okay, everybody keeps saying, okay, folks, I don't have, I again, for the 50th time, I'm not going to keep answering this question because I think people are doing it to trolling. I do not wear makeup. I have said this 500 times, and I think people are doing this now for trolling. Please knock it off. I actually, the only thing that I have, I guess there's a filter somehow you can turn it on or off. I do have powder, because if you don't wear powder, then it's very shiny on my forehead, and your nose and your cheeks are very shiny. So no, I can't wear makeup. I wish I could, because actually I guess makeup will make me look prettier, but it breaks me out because I have a very, very sensitive skin, and that's unfortunate. But no, here, I'll turn this damn thing off because it's starting there. Just turn this off and I can turn the lights off. But I have 5 different lights on. So just trolls. They're being trolls. On TikTok, it does look like you have some. Well, that's because there's a filter, I think. I don't know how to turn that filter off. I don't know how to turn the filter. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so fine. I don't care. All right. At least you don't have the powder at the top of your head. That is true. That is very true. But I think eventually I'm going to have to do that. I wonder how I can do this. I wonder how I could. How do you do that? Oh, there's a filter here. There's a face filter. Oh, it's a smooth. Oh, that's why. Okay, that's why. See, this is really cool. I'm not, when it comes to technology, I love technology, but I'm not very great at it, because there's a smooth face filter on. And if you put it on 100%, because it was on 100%, yeah, that does look like, my God. I mean, that looks like tons of makeup on, doesn't it? But then you turn it off. Okay, there we go. Well, I learned something today. That's pretty cool. No, that's pretty cool though. That is pretty cool. I didn't know that it has that filter like that. Wow. Sorry. Little things like that. It's like, oh, filter. So anyway, there we are. Okay. Okay. Freemasonry. Okay, let me just say something, because a lot of people are asking me about Freemasonry. Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between this one and this one, can't you? Yeah. Look, guys, there's a lot of nonsense that occurs with people saying that Freemasonry is, it's trying Kabbalah and all this, trying to look. I know people who are Freemasons, and they will tell you point blank, if you are going to be a Freemason because you think there's going to be some big, thing, and you're sadly mistaken, because it ain't gonna happen. I do know some Freemasons, and it just they balk at that type of nonsense. I really do think that, look, guys, YouTube, okay, is not the best place to gather factual evidence. Okay, anybody can put a YouTube video together. That doesn't make it factual. There's a lot of nonsense on social media about certain things. So just Freemasons do amazing work. They really, so this whole conspiracy, just stop. It just, it gets to a point where people fall for everything. Everything. You could say Freemasons are a bunch of aliens, and some people will actually believe it. It's I don't know. Anyway, it kind of gets a little silly. I think Shannon, you did say Shannon Long 30. What's going on with my hair? There's a green screen behind me. There's a green screen behind me. And that's why it looks a little green. So, so Shannon Long 30, can you tell me yes or no? Are you going to do it? Are you going live after this? Sorry, I didn't see it because it's just scrolling. Okay, that's a good question. Okay, yes. Okay, Shannon Long 30 is going live after this. Okay. Can you see my work? No, that will never happen. Now, work as far as investigations, yeah, you will see that. As a matter of fact, I'm planning on going probably this spring, early summer. I will be going to the Bel Air House in Bel Air, Ohio, and I will be airing this live on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and everywhere. So it'll be a Sacred Division show, and I will be doing that. This is in Bel Air, Ohio. I know the owner of the Bel Air House. It was on the television show A Haunting. I've been to the Bel Air House. Lots of activity is there. So I will be doing a live investigation at the Bel Air House on the Sacred Division. Now, as far as will you ever see a video of me performing an exorcism on someone? Never. Under no circumstances. That's sacrilegious. It's not for entertainment purposes. And anyone who does that should be ashamed of themselves. That will never happen. Do I film it? Yes, I do, for obviously for legal reasons. But never, ever, ever will you see me perform an exorcism on camera on anybody. It is despicable. It's disgraceful. And I find anybody who does that needs to really take a serious, hard look at their behavior, because it's appalling. It's appalling because I've been offered television shows. As they say, if you just perform an exorcism on someone on camera, and then I tell them what they could do with their offer. But it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. I never have, and I never will, never under any circumstances. Well, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I want to remind everybody, please do yourself a favor. Do yourself this favor. Make sure you go to our wonderful website at kgradb.com, kgradb.com, and make sure you subscribe. They have some really amazing shows there, really cool shows. But also, when you subscribe, make sure you put Bishop down for the promo code, and you'll get 30% off. Hey, I mean, that's pretty good. So kgradb.com, and definitely put Bishop there. Okay. We are going to, I'm going to be answering some of your questions. I know a lot of you have asked questions, but please forgive me. It's not because I'm being rude or disrespectful. It's because I'm looking at the cameras. That's what I'm doing. And I tried to make as much eye contact, at least with a camera, with you as possible. And I obviously can't look at the comments while I'm doing that. So it's not because I'm being disrespectful. It's just because, anyway. Okay. Necromancy it should not be done. There you go. It's bad. It's bad. It's not good at all. The necromancy should be stayed away. You should stay away from necromancy. Okay. Oh, this is a good Matt Harbin from YouTube. Do you believe popular cult symbols came from King Solomon, where he was led astray by the wife of Pharaoh? That's a really great question. There's a lot of people that, and I've had cases because of cases of demonic cases because someone had found these pictures, these drawings of symbols that were alleged from the Lesser Key of Solomon. For those of you who don't know, King Solomon was King David's son. He inherited a powerful, very powerful kingdom, truly very powerful, very wealthy kingdom. And this is important because a lot of people ask me about this. So I do want to kind of go a little bit and kind of give you a little education on this because there's a lot of problems on this. So anyway, he was King David's son, and he was, of course, respected and well loved by God. However, he married foreign wives, and because of that, they introduced different gods back into the society, and then he even built temples in honor of these gods. And allegedly, what happened was that Michael delivered this ring to Solomon that was created in heaven, and this ring was for the purpose of controlling animals, controlling wind, and even controlling summoning demons. Now, folks, this is happening now. So again, I appreciate your questions, guys, but I'm answering the question here. And so please don't get mad at me if I don't answer your question because I'm answering the question. But what happened is Solomon, the people are going online and then they're finding these alleged diagrams because Solomon wore this ring to summon demons to then control them and force them to then build these temples. Okay. Anyway, I went online just for the heck of it, and I just wanted to see how easy it was to get one of these diagrams. And it was very easy. Not only was it very easy, but I actually purchased a ring. And this is a ring, a symbol, alleged symbol of one of these things. Okay. So, anyway, you can purchase these anywhere and it's all online. You can also get these symbols online, very easy. And in fact, someone did. And she was a young girl at the time, teen, and she decided to summon demons for personal reasons. And all hell broke loose in her home. Now, I don't believe that these symbols have magical powers at all. And I don't believe in the Lesser Key of Solomon. Lesser Key of Solomon is ridiculous. It's just beyond stupid. And furthermore, there's a lot of error in the Lesser Key of Solomon. Again, this is on a YouTube thing, and I could go and destroy the Lesser Key of Solomon, the whole theory. But the point is, it's just nonsense. But she had this diagram. She created this diagram, drew it, and then she used this diagram to summon demons, so that the demon would attack people who have hurt her. Well, literally, I mean, this was one of the possession cases that I worked. And it all started because of that. But that's what's happening now. So that's what people are doing. They are taking these diagrams of alleged diagrams, and they are using these diagrams to summon demonic entities because they believe in the Lesser Key of Solomon, where if you have this diagram, you can control demons. You cannot. And anyone who tells you is a bold-faced liar, or they're just simply not educated at all in demonology, and they have no business teaching anybody that you can do this. You can't do it. No matter what anyone says, I don't care what anyone says. If they tell you you can, walk away from them because they're just going to get you in big, big trouble. And then you'll have to end up calling me, and then I will have to end up cleaning up the mess. And I'm not going to continue to do that if people keep doing this over and over after I've preached about this for 20 years. Do not do this. It's a stupid idea. There are people who are summoning demons because they think that they can be friends with demons. That is, I don't even know how to respond to something so ignorant as that. There's no logical explanation. I can't. Anyway, it's stupid. It can't be done. And should leave it alone. Leave it alone. And people don't like me sometimes talking so bluntly like this, but that's the way it is. Stay away from it. Don't do it. Okay. A lot of people are sending me messages about dream interpretation. Guys, I'm not a dream analysis. I'm not a. I mean, I don't know why people think that I can interpret dreams. I'm not. Joseph had that ability. If you go speak to a therapist, I mean, I don't know. I don't interpret dreams. I can just give a guess, but I would imagine that the best person to speak to about a dream analysis would be perhaps and I'm being sincere about this, about a therapist, because they could probably help you understand why you're dreaming about this or dreaming about that. I can't help why you're dreaming about winning the lottery and then going broke. I don't know why you're winning the lottery in your dream and then going broke. I don't know. As an exorcist, that's not something that I study. So anyway, just please understand, I don't know. Okay. Whew. Yeah, you can only imagine the questions that I get. Yeah. Has a job ever been hard for you? You know that Master Med 275. Let me ask you. Let me just say this, because I don't look at this as a job, but I hear what you're saying. This is a ministry because I don't get paid for this. Now, please understand. I know that there are people who do charge. I've never charged in 20 years. Not one penny. Not one penny. I don't charge at all. And so that's why the people who make the donations, who are on TikTok or even on YouTube or Facebook, if you're going to my website or you're making donations to the ministry, that's the only way that I can get to people's homes. That's it. Because I don't charge. I don't charge anything. So the only way that I can get to someone's home if they live in Indiana or Ohio or Florida or Texas is by donations. And if there are no donations, then I can't go. Because people say, well, that's not fair. My name's not Donald Trump. I don't have billions of dollars in my bank account. I don't have my private plane. So people expect, for some reason, they expect me to be able to just jump into a plane and go to people's homes and rent a car and get hotel. What are you talking about? I haven't won the lottery. So that's not, that's actually the hardest part of doing this. Several of you have asked me, what is the hardest part of doing this ministry? The hardest part of this ministry is having to tell a family, I can't get to you. That is the hardest part of this ministry. It truly is. It breaks my heart. If someone is in Maine or if someone is in Wisconsin or California or Oregon or wherever, and I tell them, I'm sorry, I can't get there. I can't. Financially, there's no way. I live a very simple life. There's no way. I can't do it. That's the hardest part. It's not dealing with demons, which is ironic because most of you would think that would be the hardest part. It's not. It truly is. The hardest part is having to tell a family, I can't do it. Yeah, and thank you very much for the coins. I appreciate that. And thank you. So anyway, that's how I do this. And so you can go to bishopjameslong.com, scroll down, make whatever donation there. You can go to the Cash App thing. It's $, I think, Bishop James Long. There's a variety of ways that you can donate. So, and I certainly do appreciate that. By the way, I want to remind everybody, I do have these bracelets. Don't forget, these bracelets are really cool. These are the ones that you can change. So there's 4 different faces. There's Michael, and there is a Benedictine. There's a Jesus one. There's Mary. So that's available on the website, Bishop James Long. I am getting the Benedictine bracelets. I am ordering them. They have been on back order forever, but I am ordering them, and they should be in March, middle of March or so. So anyway, but okay. Do I have a list of demons that I know? Oh, yeah, I do. Do you accept prayers, or do you have your own prayer? But do I accept prayers? Of course I accept prayers. Yeah, absolutely. Is that what your question? By the way, we have night prayer Monday through Friday. Thank you very much for that. We have Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's night prayer every single Monday through Friday. And we also have Bible study on Wednesdays. So don't forget, Bible studies every Wednesday. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And for those of you who have donated, thank you. We're very low on our funding right now. Very, very, very low. And there's no way I'm going to be able to help people at the moment. I can't do it. There's just no way. So at this point, I can't even help people with their electric bill. I mean, there's just no way. You got to understand, when you have to fly to a location, that's expensive. And then you have to rent a car. And then you have to, sometimes I could stay there to a week to maybe 2 weeks, depending on how bad it is. So I have to stay at a hotel. This could easily be $1,500 to $2,000. Easily. Well, when you're not charging, how are you expected to come up with $1,500? Could you do it? I mean, that's a fair question. Could you do it? If someone right now, I have 12,000 messages on TikTok. I have 8,000 email messages. And today alone, just today, I've had 83 people request my assistance to get to their home. 83, just today. That's what I'm trying to say to you. That's why, but we definitely need more exorcists. We need more exorcists who are trained, and that's a problem. Yes, if someone is at their home and they need assistance, and they can pay for the funding, yes, absolutely. But I don't receive payment. There's a zero tolerance that we don't receive any payment. And the reason being because I will not allow the devil then to creep in and allow temptation to falter, because then once you say, okay, I'll come to your home for 3,000, then the devil will creep in and say, oh, why don't you ask for 5,000 next time, 7,000? I've had people tell me, Bishop Long, get here and I'll put a second mortgage on my home. You see what I'm saying? They are so desperate. And so the devil could easily creep in. Oh, you can charge 8,000 for this, 10,000. Oh, your car's broke down. You need, see what I mean? But I have zero tolerance. Oh, zero tolerance. Okay. The violet, are you, let's see, are you observing a holy day? No, this is purple because I'm a bishop. And so, bishops wear, but it's also, there's a black shirt with a purple collar. I'm a bishop of the church. So we actually wear, it's purple. All right. Will I ever record an exorcism? We talked about that. I do record them for legal reasons, but I will never, ever, under no circumstances, you'll never, ever see a Bishop Long exorcism on video. Never happen. No way. No way. It won't happen. Okay. What's the scariest thing you've been on a case? Yeah, fame. That's right. Fame or Glenn, you're right. Fame or money. And people say, well, I've had a lot of haters. I've had a lot of haters through the years. Oh, you're just doing this for fame. Let me tell you, 20 years ago, there was no paranormal clergy. 20 years ago, there was no Catholic clergy helping the paranormal community. So it's not as if I followed someone else's footsteps. I did it because people need help. And fame, with all the television shows that I've been on, you can add them up and it would probably buy me a $1.50 for a Coke Zero because I don't charge. See, this whole idea of fame. Well, you become famous so that you can make a lot of money. I don't charge. So where's the money? You see, it's so stupid how some people just immediately think just because you've done a lot of television shows, well, yeah, if I charged every time, sure, I'd be pretty well off, but I don't. So there you go. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, Debbie. Oh, Malachi Martin. Yeah, Hostage to the Devil, Robert. That's a great book. Father Malachi Martin, well, he was a Roman Catholic exorcist. He was the chief exorcist in Rome, and he left the Roman Catholic Church, and he married, but he still continued performing exorcisms, and he wrote a book called A Hostage to the Devil, which is a phenomenal book, just a really great book. And thank you very much, Hill. Thank you very much. Okay. Mad, you can go to the church website because I've talked about that at usocc.org. Yep, usocc.org. Well, thank you very much. I love you right back. I'm the daughter of the king. I appreciate. Oh, you're a daughter of the king. Of the king. Explain that one to me. Manham event. I don't know what you're referring to. I've done a lot of paranormal conferences. Well, can I stay at a church when traveling? It depends. There's not a lot of church communities, unfortunately, that will welcome other pastors, believe it or not, for other denominations if they don't know you. So Bobby Manham. No, that doesn't sound, I don't know what Bobby Manham is. Netherlands. Well, hello. Are you Catholic priest with Holy Oath? Yes, I do have apostolic succession. You can go to bishopjameslong.com. You can read up on me, or you can go to usocc.org. Okay. Oh boy. I'm sorry, Nestor. Sorry about that. Are you at risk of attachment performing exorcism? Certainly I am, Gabriel. Yeah. But when you're doing exorcisms are quite dangerous. And they're dangerous certainly for the exorcist, but they're also very dangerous for the person who has been possessed. Because remember, the body has been under great trauma. Because possession doesn't happen like this. I mean, the intellect and will of the person has been beaten down to the point where the person can no longer fight. And then you have possession taking over. So it's a very difficult, arduous, I think the whole entire process, it's challenging on the body. But yes, certainly as an exorcist, you can get yourself in trouble. I've performed 30 exorcisms on people who are validly possessed. And again, this is a valid possession. I'm not talking about people who are, flopping around on the water like a fish out of water. I'm talking about valid possession. What I mean by that is I require psychological evaluation before I even speak to the person. The individual must have a psychological evaluation. And here's why. I am not trained in mental health. And I got to be very careful, because if someone is going around saying that they are possessed by demons or they're hearing demons, I have to be very, very careful not to introduce or not to invoke or I amplify, I guess, their mental illness. I don't, or their psychosis. I don't want to, if it's a psychotic episode, I certainly don't want to validate that. And I have to be very careful, very careful. So I need to know if the person is suffering from some form of mental illness before I get involved in it ever. And I just do, because that's the right thing to do. Because if someone has multiple personality, you create another personality. If someone is schizophrenic, you can put them in a manic state. I mean, there are so many things that could go wrong by performing an exorcism on someone with mental illness. And you have to be careful. Matter of fact, hold on, folks. Hold on for the questions. Hold on. There was a case, because someone is asking me about a case. There was because the questions are so fast, I can't read them. I went to a woman's house, and she said that she was seeing demons. And this was early on in my ministry. And throughout, I've learned a lot since then. And so I went in there with the team. We were going to investigate. And I walked into her kitchen, and there were puncture holes everywhere. I mean, everywhere in her kitchen. There were, it had to be thousands. I mean, it was everywhere. Puncture holes, like holes in the wall. And they weren't small holes. They were little, and they weren't big holes. They were kind of small puncture holes. And I thought, what in the world? And I asked her, I said, are you having problems with your home? I mean, they were everywhere. It was just, I've never seen this in my entire life. And I asked her, why are all these holes in your walls? And she turned around and she grabbed the broom. But the broom part had been cut off. And at the very end of it, she had duct tape, a massive, and I mean, this sucker was a Michael Myers. Okay, it was a Michael Myers butcher knife. It was huge. And she had duct taped it. And she said, every time I see that demon, I stab it. And I said, okay, I forgot something in my car, but let me go grab this in my car, and let me just, and that was enough, because you have to understand that terrified me. I mean, that truly terrified me, because if she had seen the demon in one of these, in one of the investigators, or even in me, then I would be terrified because she could grab that knife and start stabbing. You see, that is what I'm talking about. This type of ministry is very dangerous. People don't think about that. But you got to remember, we're going into people's homes. We don't know them. We don't know their history. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea what they've done. We don't know anything about these people. But we're entering their homes. And that's why you never go alone, ever, ever, never. If you go alone, it's very dangerous. Why would you? Because in this situation, if thankfully I had my team with me, and we are like, okay, it's, because if something bad had happened and she grabbed that butcher knife, someone could have helped, knocked it down or something. That's how serious this is. I deal with a lot of mental illness. I truly do. I mean, there are people who say they gave birth to a demon. I mean, what do you do with that? I don't know. It's like, okay, I'm sorry that you gave birth to a demon, but I mean, what am I supposed to do with this information? I can't help you. I mean, you're giving birth to demons. So that's what I'm talking about. This stuff is very serious, and mental illness, that's dangerous. When you go into someone's home and you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know, and you have no backup. No. It's dangerous. Yeah, is summer here yet? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, summer. I can't wait. When spring and summer, I'm going to be getting out and doing a lot more. I'm very excited, very, very excited, because we'll be doing some live shows. I am going to be going to the gates of hell. Now, you've told me, I've told you plenty of times about the gates of hell, and I'll talk a little bit about it again tonight. The only problem with the gates of hell, there's no internet. However, with the 5G going on now, it's possible that the gates of hell cemetery might have the internet now, because it's 5G. So I'm definitely going to try, and I'm going to go there just to see if my phone works. But the gates of hell is a very, very bad place. By the way, Jake's Paranormal, or is it Jake's or Jack's Paranormal? I am the one, and I have this. I have the video. I am the one who coined the gates of hell cemetery, and I know this because, remember, 18 years ago I had a show, The Sacred Division, and it was airing on a very popular paranormal radio network. The first actually all paranormal radio shows. It was a radio, and my team was finding places that was abandoned in Kentucky that no one ever heard about. And this cemetery, no one had ever heard about. This is an old abandoned cemetery out in the country, and the paranormal community didn't even know it existed. And so we went there. Literally all hell broke loose. And the next day we were doing a live show, and I was like, guys, this is like the gates of hell. And that's when that's it. For now on, we're going to call this the gates of hell. And that's how it got its name, because literally it was like the gates of hell. And it was a very bad place, and it is a very bad place. But that's how the Gates of Hell Cemetery got its name. Well, thank you very much, Tatted Canadian. Thank you. Now, 1S Primum. Have I ever performed an exorcism that was not completed? No. Thank God, only through the grace of God. All 30 exorcisms that I have performed, they have been successful because of God, and only because of God. Now, some have taken longer than others, but as far as it being successful, they were all successful. Now, let me just say something, because this is important. How am I not terrified? Because demonic entities, you got to understand something. Demonic entities are parasites. I am not terrified of demonic entities. And that's a great question. Because why? Because if God dwells within you, and God does, if you just accept God in your heart, I assure you of one thing. I guarantee you, as my name is Bishop James Long, if God dwells within you, it is not you who should be afraid of demons, because when the demons look at you, they should be terrified. And you got to remember that. You cannot have the victimization mindset. You can't have that. You can't. That's got to stop. This whole victimizing, knock it off. When it comes to demons, if God dwells within you, it is the demons who are terrified of you. And that's why they attack. Because they are scared, because they know the ultimate result, what's going to happen to them. They know the end game, and they're going to try to break every single person down as they can. So it is not you who should be terrified of demons. If God dwells in your heart, the demons should be terrified of you, and they are. And they are. Now, please understand, I was saying there, the 30 exorcisms that I have performed, they're called that's called the solemn rite of exorcism. So that's an exorcism that is performed on a demonic entity that has possessed a body. Now, that is different than a deliverance. A deliverance is not an exorcism. A deliverance is performed on an individual who has an attachment, a demonic attachment. So let's say the demon has, you went out and paranormal investigated, right? And you said, is anyone here? Can you make a noise? Can you do something? And then now you have an attachment. And it could also be a malevolent spirit. So you have an attachment. An exorcist, a clergy will perform and will pray over you to remove that attachment. That is called a deliverance. That is not an exorcism. Completely, totally two different type of prayers. And then there's what's called the minor rite of exorcism. The minor rite of exorcism is what I did at the Exorcist House, actually in St. Louis. I was actually there live on the Travel Channel, and we actually performed the minor rite of exorcism. That is a blessing. So what you do is you perform the exorcism on the demonic entity or malevolent spirit that has infested itself within a home or building. That is what you do for the minor rite of exorcism. Now, I have, in fact, performed the minor rite of exorcism on television because it's not an exorcism on a person. That I have done. But as far as performing the solemn rite of exorcism, that will never happen. No. Now, deliverance, I don't have such an issue with, because it's a praying over the person to remove that attachment. That is complete, because the person is aware of what's going on. They're conscious of what's going on. When you are under the stage of possession, you go into almost a catatonic state. You are not in control of your body. You're not in control of what you're doing. The demonic is actually controlling the motor functions and the decisions at that moment. And that is when, because you don't want to relive something like this. So if an exorcist says, puts a camera on him, oh, sure, it'll get a lot of views, but it's sacrilegious. It's disgusting. Because, oh, sure, yeah, you're filming somebody and the demonic is doing terrible things and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is great TV. If you're wearing this collar and you actually put a camera on somebody and they're doing things that they normally would never, ever do, and you're thinking, oh, this is great TV. This will make for a great, have you lost your soul? That to me is losing your soul. You're selling your soul to the devil. Because why? Because now the person, if the person is delivered from that possession, then what's going to happen? That person is then going to flip to the channels and they're going to see themselves under the stage of possession doing terrible things. Terrible things that they had no control of. And now they have to relive this? No. Come on. That's terrible. That's terrible. Well, this is my real face, and if you please, enough of that troll crap. You know what? Let me block this ass clown. Block. There. People are just, I've already said it. Enough's enough. The trolls. To me, it's so sad. It is so sad that you have nothing better to do on a Friday night than to troll somebody. I mean, that to me is sad. I mean, really, that's the only thing you have to do. I mean, that's pretty bad. Well, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. All right. And hello to all you guys. Hello. And again, I apologize if I've not, no, co-patriot, I appreciate that. You guys have to understand, I've been dealing with this for 20 years. This is not new to me. I've had death threats. I've even had to get the police involved. As a matter of fact, so this is not new. Please understand, this is not new. I'm not a rookie here. I've got very thick skin. You got to understand. I've been called everything under the book besides my name, and it's like, okay, whatever. And it used to bother me. It used to. It got so bad. I said this before. I actually got death threats. Legitimate death threats. They found out where I lived, and the death threats were absolutely legitimate. I had to get the police involved. As a matter of fact, in Indianapolis, there was a paranormal conference, and the death threats were so serious that they had to hire 4 extra police officers just to surround me because they were afraid that some idiot's going to come up and shoot or stab me. Can you? That was that serious. And here's why. I defend people's right to their choice of whatever faith they wish. If they want to be Wiccan, that's their right. Or pagan, if that's their right. Atheist, that's their right. Now, I don't like Satanism because it obviously it's a mockery of God. But if they choose to do it, that's their right. And I fight for people's rights to believe or not believe in whatever it is. If they want to worship the moon, that's their right. I don't have to agree, but that is their right. And I also support people who I defend people based on their gender. If I see gender discrimination, I stand up for it and I fight against it. I believe in women ordination and I stand up for it. I do not discriminate against people who are LGBTQ. I am a celibate man, so your sexual orientation is none of my business. Now, how you treat people, if you're loving and you're compassionate, that's how I view you as a person. Whether you're loving, compassionate, or you're not. I don't judge you, but you have the choice to be loving or compassionate or not. It's not my place to judge you at all because I have my own faults and I have my own weaknesses, and it's not my place. So that is why I got death threats, because 18 years ago, I went public. I wrote a little book. I defended people's right to be Wiccan, and that was where the death threats started. So, yeah. Is it okay to use curse words? Well, let me tell you something. I know a lot of clergy who have a sailor mouth. Now, I will get mad. I get really angry when I see people do things wrong to people. The other day, I got really furious. I think it was Wednesday because someone had told a pastor had told somebody that their loved one who had committed suicide is burning in hell, and that really got to me. I mean, that just burnt me up. So I said a few choice words, and I haven't regretted it. No regret. I'll say them again. Say it again. Because I just, it infuriates me when I see that. Okay. Well, Michelle, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Android Purity, great to hear. Many agnostics and atheists believe all churches discriminate. That's not true. Yep, in today's modern world, most don't, from my experience. Yeah, it is. But there are some people. There are some people who do discriminate, and that's just the ignorance is what ignorance is, right? Okay. So it's okay to curse. Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, go ahead and curse all you want. No, obviously you want to avoid cursing, but I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to look down upon you if you. Now, you don't want to. Obviously, you don't want to. Blaspheme. That's something you don't want to do. But you got to be, obviously I'm telling everybody, certainly no one wants to go around with a sailor mouth. And so just obviously that's not the best idea, but it's not my place to judge you. Okay, Brian, what is the creepiest place that you've ever been to? Gates of Hell Cemetery. Oh yeah, I have researched a lot of the my necklace. Which necklace? Oh, you're talking about this necklace. Or I have another one, but I don't share that one. This one. It's a Benedictine necklace. Saint Benedict. And then on the back here, it's the back of the medal. But I wear another necklace, but I don't share that. That's between me and my grandmother. Okay. Okay. Satanism religion. Well, I don't like Satanism. I'm not going to. It's not my place to judge anybody. But if someone comes to me and says, Bishop, I'm a Satanist, do you think that's the route to go? Well, no. And I'll talk to you. If you come to me and you ask, what am I supposed to say? Yes. How absurd is that? No, you should not be a Satanist. But if you choose, that is your right. You have that right to choose Satanism over Christianity. That's your right. Am I going to agree with it? Of course not. And I'll be more than happy to talk to you, but I'm not going to judge you or anybody because it's not my place to judge. It's just not. I do. I got to order more, Ellen. I got to order more. Okay. So certainly. Well, I mean, there have been haunted locations, haunted churches before. I have seen a couple places that because there was really violent activity in the church, there was unfortunately there was that. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a podcast, or have you been on one? I've been on in 20 years. I've been on thousands. Yeah, thousands. All right. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, I've done quite a bit. Okay. I'm going to look into this because I'm really curious about what you guys think about this. What do you guys think about skinwalkers? What do you think about that? Well, thank you, Paula. I appreciate that. Thank you. What do you think about skinwalkers? Have you ever heard of a skinwalker? Some people really, really absolutely think that Baptists say there are no demons on earth. Well, then they're calling Jesus a lie. I mean, Jesus. I mean, again, but I know Baptists who do believe that there are demons in possession. But you're good at either Jesus performed exorcisms or he didn't. Either he expelled demonic entities from individuals or he didn't. And it is written very clearly in Scripture that, in fact, that was a very big part of his ministry. And he even told his disciples to go out and cast out demons in his name. So either he did or did not. And if demonic entities did not exist, then he certainly wouldn't commission them to do this ministry. So, yes. Okay. This is interesting. What is a skinwalker? This is very interesting. But this I saw on a website called Live About, and it's I want to share this with you. In Navajo legend, a skinwalker, allegedly, and this is from this website, is a medicine man who has gone to the dark side and is able to shape shift into animals and other people. Now, by night, they transform and inflict pain and suffering. The question, according to this website, did an Arizona family encounter a skinwalker on an eerie, deserted highway through Navajo country? So this is listen to this. This is, again, it's called liveabout.com, skinwalkers. I want to read this to you because it's pretty intense. I will, Skinwalker Ranch. All of her life, Frances T. has seen things, heard things, and felt them. Born into a family of sensitives, and this was rather normal. In my family, you were considered odd if you didn't experience abnormal things, Frances says. We never talked much about our experiences or our feelings about them. We just accepted them as normal, which in fact, to us, they are. But nothing could have prepared her family for what they encountered on a dark, desolate road in Arizona 20 years ago. It's a mysterious and traumatizing event that haunts them even to this day. So Frances's family have moved from Wyoming to Flagstaff, Arizona in 78, shortly after her high school graduation. Sometime between 82 and 83, 1982-83. 20-year-old Frances, her father, mother, and her young brother took a road trip back to Wyoming in her family pickup truck. The trip was on a vacation to visit friends in or around their own hometown. The only member of the family not present was her older brother, who was in the Army and stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Now, the course along Route 163 took them through Navajo Indian Reservation and through the town of Kayenta, just south of Utah border, and the magnificent Monument Valley Navajo Tribal Park. Anyone who's ever lived in Arizona for a length of time knows that the Indian Reservation can be a beautiful, if harsh, place for non-natives. Quote, many strange things happen out there, Frances says. Even my friend, a Navajo, warned us of traveling through the reservation, especially at night. Along with the warning, however, Frances's Native American friend blessed the family, and they were on their way. So this is what happened. The trip to Wyoming was uneventful, but the trip back to Arizona along the same route more than just justify the warning from Frances's friend. It still gives me goosebumps, she says. And to this day, I have major anxiety attacks when I have to travel to the North Country at night. I avoid it at all costs. See, it was a warm summer night about 10 p.m. when the family's pickup was heading south on 163, about 20 to 30 miles from the town of Kayenta. It was a moonless night on this lonely stretch of road, so pitch black that they could only see just a few feet beyond the headlights, so dark that closing their eyes actually brought relief from the phantomless black. And they had been driving for hours with Frances's father at the wheel, and the vehicle's passengers had long ago settled in quiet. Now, Frances and her father sandwiched her mother into the truck's cab while her brother enjoyed the night air in the back of the pickup. And suddenly, Frances's father broke the silence. "We have company," he said. Frances and her mother turned around and looked out the back slider window. Sure enough, a pair of headlights appeared over the crest of a hill, then disappeared as the car went down, then reappeared. Frances commented to her father that it was nice to have company on this stretch of road. If something went wrong, neither vehicle or its passengers would be alone. Thunder. Hold on for the question. Thunder began to rumble from the vast clouded sky. The parents decided that their son should come into the cab before he got soaking wet from any rain that might fall. Frances opened the slider window. Her little brother crawled in, squeezing between her and her mother. Frances turned to close the window and again noticed a headlight from the following car. "They're still behind us," her father said. "They must be either going to Flagstaff or Phoenix. We'll probably meet them in Kayenta when we stop to fuel up." Frances watched as the car's headlights crested another hill and began its descent until it disappeared. She watched for them to reappear and watched. They didn't reappear. She told her father that the car should have crested the other hill again, but hadn't. Maybe they slowed down, he suggested, or pulled over. That was possible. But it just didn't make sense to Frances. Why in the heck would a driver slow down, or worse yet, stop at the bottom of a hill in the middle of the night with nothing around for miles and miles? Frances asked her father, "Well, you think they'd want to keep sight of the car in front of them in case anything happened?" "People do weird stuff when they're driving," her father replied, so Frances kept watching, turning around every few minutes to check for those headlights, but they never did appear. And when she turned to look one last time, she noticed that the pickup was slowing down. Turning back to look out the windshield, she saw that they were rounding up a sharp bend in the road, and her father had slowed down the truck to about 55 miles per hour. From that moment, time itself seemed to slow down for Frances. The atmosphere changed somehow, taking on another worldly quality, and Frances turned her head to look out the passenger window when her mother screamed, and her father cried out, "Jesus Christ, what in the heck is that?" Frances didn't know what was happening, but on one hand, instinctively reached out over and held down the button to lock the door, and the other tightly grabbed the door handle. She braced her back against her small brother and held firmly onto the door, still not knowing quite why. Her brother was now yelling, "What is it? What is it?" And her father immediately flipped on the interior cab light, and Frances could see that he was petrified. "I have never ever seen my father that scared in my whole life," Frances says. Now, when he came home from his tours in Vietnam, not when he came home from special assignments, not even when he tried to firebomb our house, Frances's father was as white as a ghost. She could see the hair on the back of his neck standing straight out like a cat's, and so was the hair on his arms. She could even see the goosebumps on his skin. Panic was filling the small cab, and Frances's mother was so frightened that she began shouting in her native Japanese in a high, squeaky voice as she frantically wrung her hands. The little boy just kept saying, "Oh my gosh." As the pickup sped around the bend in the road, Frances could see that the shoulder dropped off deeply in a ditch, and her father slammed on the brakes to prevent the truck from swerving in the ditch. And as the pickup was slowing to a stop, something leaped out of the ditch at the side of the truck. And now Frances could clearly see what had started the panic. It was black, hairy, and was eye level with the passengers in the cab. If this was the man, it was no man like Frances ever seen before. Yet, despite its monstrous appearance, whatever this thing was, it wore a man's clothes. It had on white and blue checkered shirt and long pants. Its arms were raised over its head, almost touching the top of the cab. This creature remained there for a few seconds, looking into the pickup, and then the pickup was past it, and Frances could not believe what she had seen. It looked like a hairy man or hairy animal in man's clothing, she said, but it didn't look like an ape or anything like that. Its eyes were yellow, and its mouth was wide open. Although time seemed to freeze and distorted in this moment of fantastic horror, it was all over within a few minutes. And the headlights, her little brother, came into the cab and the thing. And by the time the family reached Kayenta for gas, they had finally calmed down. Frances and her father climbed out of the pickup and checked the side of the truck to see if the creature had done any damage. They were surprised to see that the dust on the side of the truck was undisturbed. And so was the dust on the hood and the roof of the truck. In fact, they found nothing out of the ordinary, no blood, no hair, nothing. The family stretched their legs and rested at Kayenta for about 20 minutes. The car had been following them, never did show up. It's as if the car just simply vanished. They drove home to Flagstaff with the cab light on and the doors securely locked. And of course, she goes on and tells the more of the story. That's intense. That's intense. No, that it's not a Bigfoot story. They believe they saw a Navajo skinwalker, and there was another incident that they had as well. And I don't know. Boy, that's pretty. And thank you so much for the love and the hearts on TikTok. Thank you. I appreciate that. Listen to this. Let me tell you what happened, because I want to continue the story. Just imagine this for a second. Just imagine. Put yourself in this situation. A few nights later, around 11 p.m., Frances and her brother were awakened by the sounds of drumming. They looked out his bedroom window into the backyard, which was surrounded by a fence. At first, they saw nothing but the forest beyond the fence. Then the drumming grew louder, and 3 or 4 men appeared behind the wooden fence. It looked like they were trying to climb the fence, but couldn't quite manage to bring their legs up high enough and swing over, Frances says. Unable to get into the yard, the men began to chant. Frances was so scared. She slept with her little brother that night. Sometime later, Frances sought out a Navajo friend, hoping that she could offer some explanation for these strange incidents. And she told Frances that it was a skinwalker that had tried to attack her family. Skinwalkers are creatures of Navajo legend. Some say, which again, of course, blame everything on witches that can shapeshift into animals. Do I believe that? No, because I know people who are Wicca who are not going to shapeshift into animals or hurt people. That a skinwalker attacked them was quite unusual. Frances's friend told her, as it has been a long time since she heard any activity about skinwalkers, that they normally don't bother non-natives. Frances took her friend back to the fence where she had seen the strange men trying to climb in. The Navajo woman considered the scene for a moment, then revealed that 3 or 4 skinwalkers had visited the house. She said that they wanted to protect the family, but could not gain access because something was protecting the family. Frances was astonished. Why? She asked. Why would the skinwalkers want her family? Your family has a lot of power, the Navajo woman said, and they wanted it. And again, she said that skinwalkers usually don't bother non-natives, but she believed that they wanted the family enough to expose themselves. And later that day, she blessed the perimeter of the property, the house, the vehicle, and the family. We haven't been bothered by the skinwalkers since then, Frances says. And then again, I haven't been back to Kayenta. I've gone through other towns on reservation, yes, at night, but I'm not alone. I carry a weapon, and I carry protective ambulance. Wow, that's a scary story, and I don't know. My sister Shannon Long 30, our grandmother, she was Native American, and so yeah, we certainly do. I don't know a whole lot about the skinwalkers. I've read obviously about skinwalkers, but it certainly is. Can you imagine seeing this creature? I don't know. A lot of people say, yep, skinwalkers are demons. It certainly is a very, very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, Vicky says, well, there goes walking the dog tonight. Yeah. It's, I tell you what, it is scary stuff. John wants to know, what do I think about alien abduction stories? John, let me tell you something. There are a lot of people that I have met. I met Travis Walton, and I had the opportunity to speak to him several times about the Fire in the Sky movie. For those of you who don't know, it's Fire in the Sky. It's based on his life. I've had the opportunity to meet him, and I've also had the opportunity to meet quite a few people who claim that they have been abducted. Now, some people will say, oh, good God, really? Now, hold on. Before you judge, hold on. There are people that I have met who claim to have been abducted, and these people are pretty darn credible. They have nothing to gain. They don't want fame. They don't want fortune. They don't want a movie made after them. They want to tell people their story. They have everything to lose because they know people are going to make fun of them. They know people are going to laugh at them, but they're still willing to tell their story. There's something behind it, because like I said, I've been in the paranormal 35 years ago and 20 years practically full time. And I can tell you guys, I've met people from all over the world, all over the United States, certainly, and people who claim that they were abducted. And their stories are quite powerful. And they are very, very confident that this happened to them. And they know the difference between a dream and reality. And most people know the difference between dream and reality. But I don't know. It is a very... Usually where there's smoke, there's fire, you know, the old saying. And there's far too many people who are credible, who are saying that they have been abducted. And, you know, why do they stop visiting? Well, a lot of people say they haven't stopped. The Bell Witch. I actually know Willie Windwalker Gibson, and he was on the television show, The Bell Witch. They had him over there. Willie, I've not been to the Bell Witch cave. I would like to go one day, but I've never been there. And I tell you what, there does seem to be something going on there. Willie is absolutely convinced, 100%, that there's something there. He was there. He went in the best. Yeah. So Willie Windwalker, he's a shaman, and so I don't know. I think. Have I had a UFO or alien? Actually, I have not been abducted. However, I absolutely 1,000,000% have seen what I can't explain. As a matter of fact, I actually went on the Sacred Division that day. We were a friend of mine, I was hosting the show with. She had called me and said, "You need to look outside right now." And I thought, okay, fine. You know, I don't know what I was doing, working on something. I said, I really can't. James, get out there. So I walked outside. I looked up, and this is exciting. This is pretty cool. This thing, it was in the air. I could see 2 helicopters following it, and it was shooting out red. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It would look like red. I don't know. It was a firework, not even fireworks, but red, like little lights. It was shooting out red lights. That's what it looked like. And there was 2 helicopters, and I thought, what in the world? And literally, it was like it was almost, when I talk about shooting out red things, it was like it was in trouble or something. And it was shooting out these red things from it. And these helicopters were surrounding it. And I thought, what is this? And matter of fact, I still have the recording. We jumped on the Sacred Division. And we were like, we saw a UFO. We were absolutely convinced this thing was a UFO. I don't know what it was. It was not. I know, guys, I used to work for Continental Airlines a long time ago. So I know what an airplane is. I know what a helicopter is. This was not a helicopter. This was not an airplane. It made no noise. But it kept shooting out this like red spark. And what was interesting is not too long ago, about 5 months ago, I was flipping through the channel, and It was on a television show. Check it out, Google it. The Louisville Metro Police were actually chasing this thing down. That was the helicopters. So it actually, and they talked to the helicopter, the operators, and they were describing this thing. They didn't understand what it was. And I that was really, really cool. That was I don't know, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. And again, thank you very much. I want to appreciate, thank you again for those of you on TikTok who are offering gifts for the ministry. Thank you for doing that. And thank you all of you guys. If you've gone to PayPal, or if you've gone to bishopjameslong.com, don't forget, I teach demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. I teach that online. You learn at your own pace, and it's 100% online. And you can go to, and you click on the class, you can sign up there. You can also go to bishopjameslong.com, scroll down and make the donation to whatever ministry that you want to donate to. Again, I do this 100% for free. And the only way that I can do it is if donations, and right now donations are zero. We've got 2 people donated the other day, and that was enough to help a single mom with her electric. And then once that did it went down to zero. A lot of people think that for some reason I have all this money in the bank. I wish. Maybe I need to win the lottery. That's what I need to do. But no, I just don't. Oh, well, what are you going to do? This thing keeps flickering, and I'm going to turn it off in a minute. Okay, Ashley is asking a question. Oh, well, American Road Warrior, because I saw this thing first, and I actually saw the helicopters chasing after it. That's a good question. So this thing actually went over me, and the helicopters were pretty far away from it, and it was it's like spitting this red stuff. I don't know. I can't describe the red, like lights. I don't know. So it flew kind of not far from me, and then the helicopters were chasing after it. That's why I know it didn't make any noise. Ashley's asking, I have a question about exorcism. I have read that during some exorcism, the demonic will say they are Satan. Has there ever been a person who is possessed by actual Satan? That's a good question, Ashley. A lot of times, the majority of times, actually, a demon will definitely tell you that it is Satan. And it does that because it wants to frighten you. It wants to make you think, oh my gosh, this is Satan himself. How am I going to defeat Satan? It's trying to intimidate you. It's smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. And again, a demonic entity is not going to freely give you its name. It's just not, because the moment that you have the name, you have control. So the whole idea that demonic entities just freely give people its name, it's simply not true. And so only during the exorcism, during the solemn rite of exorcism, after the demonic's intellect and will has been eradicated through the rite, through the prayer, and using what's called sacramentals of the church, oil, holy water, etc., you break down the intellect and will of the demonic to the point where its will is really at a weakened state, and then you force it to surrender its name. Once you do that, then you have control of the demonic, you know its origins, and you continue the process. But it will not give you its name, it simply won't. And that it's one of those things. I gotta block this user who's trolling. It's so sad. Everybody, we got to pray for the trolls. On a Friday night, they troll. Okay. Yeah, please don't use demonic names in the chat, because you will be blocked if you do. So don't block, because the person may not know, but we don't use demonic names in chat. Just like I will never use a demonic name. I will never say demonic name, because the moment that you do, that is a form of summoning. And you need to do not do that. Just simply don't, because you're opening the line of communication. That's why we ask people, don't mention demonic names, because it's dangerous. And we certainly don't want to cause havoc for anybody here. All right. You hope I can retire in a comfortable way. I appreciate that. Maybe one day I can retire, but I just, honestly, I don't see this as a job. I see this as a way of life. And so, because I have devoted my entire adult life to this ministry. And so for me, this is my identity. To remove this ministry from me would be like removing my name. I couldn't do it. So for me, it just, I think the day I will retire will be the day when I draw my last breath. That's when I will retire from this ministry. Until then, I keep pushing on. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I wish television shows would not mention demonic names. I wish they would not. I've preached about this now for 20 years, but they keep doing it over and over and over. And I wish they would stop it, because it's very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you. Well, the demons hear it from your TV and think you're saying it. Well, no, it's all about intent. So what you're saying is if you say this, or if you're uttering it, it's the same thing. Like, for example, well, thank you, Michelle. Okay, Michelle, and Master Med. So I have said your names, and immediately these individuals are like, oh, he's talking to me. Well, that's why, or anybody, Arlene, or Paula. That's why you don't mention demonic names. Okay, I'm going to turn this off because it's driving me. This flickering crap is driving me crazy. So sorry, but the green screen's going off. I'm going to have to make this ugly green because it flickers, and I don't know why it does that. Maybe I can change it to just a regular. Maybe that will work. I don't know. I have researched UFO abductions, and I think there's something legitimate going on there. There's something. I don't know why it's flickering. It's TikTok. To be honest with you, it's TikTok. We'll try this and see how pretty that is. That's actually a pretty background. Okay. Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. All right. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm reading this. By the way, now a cave. Yeah. It's actually pretty. It's a pretty picture. Get this, guys. Do you know of any movies we shouldn't watch? Here's the deal. People think I don't watch possession movies. I just don't, because most of them are junk and they're nonsense. Now, I have seen the movie The Rite, which I think is phenomenal. And, that is actually, it's based on Father Gary Thomas. I've had the opportunity to speak to him a couple of times. Great man. He's an exorcist. That is really a phenomenal movie. Now, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Her name is Anneliese Michel. She was German. I have the case file of Anneliese. There was a lot that was actually testified in case that actually in court that they did show in the movie. So there were some things that were silly, but the majority of things that occurred in the movie, the exorcists who were there testified that it occurred. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah. Anthony Hopkins, he was amazing. Okay. Well, Wise Willow, I didn't skip your question. You got to remember there's a lot of people asking questions. So it's not because I'm purposely skipping your question. It's because there's a lot of people asking questions. You are one of about 300 people asking questions. Okay. Have this ever happened to you? And this is very interesting. A voice in his head made an American $100,000 richer. And I'm alien. Here it is. A resident of the American city of Sykesville, Maryland, for those of you who are in Maryland, hit the jackpot in the lottery after a quiet voice in his head advised him to buy a ticket, reports UPI News Agency. Man, Michael, that's a good question. Didn't the bishops involved in the case go to? No, they were sent. They were charged, but ultimately they didn't serve time. They should have. Because of what happened. And it was terrible. By the way, I'm going to be teaching on Anneliese Michel on that tomorrow. Nolan Steele, who's 78 years old, said he was about to leave the store where he was chatting with a friend when a quiet voice in his head advised him to stay and make a small purchase, get an instant lottery ticket. He says, I don't know where it came from, but I'm happy and I listened to it. I knew that something good would happen. the 78-year-old so Steele wiped the protective layer off the ticket and scanned it to check the result. It turned out that he became richer by $100,000. The man went to the lottery headquarters in Baltimore and took the prize. The American said that he plans to paint the house with the money received, and Steele will give the rest to the winnings of his winnings to the family and his wife, he's been married to for 43 years. Can you imagine? I've had that little voice in my head that says, "Oh, please buy the lottery ticket. Look at all the things you could do, all the people you could help." I don't win. It's like, come on, why can't I get that right voice? You know what I mean? Okay. How do we find out a bishop's lesson? Oh, you can go to University Magicus, Magickus, University Magicus, all one word.com. And you can scroll there and you can click on the events, and then you can, that's how you can do that. So University Magicus Oka, here's another troll on YouTube that I'm going to have to block. Oh, Mr. Troll. Okay. That's so funny. All right. Okay. So you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, live 1700. Thank you so much. Happy Black History Month, everyone, as well. Absolutely. I have two nephews and a niece who, of course, were in a mixed family and love them dearly. And so, yep, I appreciate that. All right. That'd be the question. Well, what's the question? Wesley Manor got a question. There's a lot of people got questions. Demonic dreams. Well, demonic dreams, the incubus and succubus actually starts with the dream. And at first it's not a violent or aggressive experience. It's quite violent. And that is something that, it is I've had several incubus and succubus succubi case, and they are very aggressive. They're difficult, incredibly difficult to work. Yeah. So, okay. Annalise case fell in backing up true possession to mental illness. Well, I think she certainly had. Annalise McHale had mental illness. There's no question about that. Well, at least she had some health issues, but I think there were things that occurred with Annalise that had nothing to do with mental illness, nothing at all. And I think possession most certainly occurred in that case. And there's no doubt in my mind that that was possession, no doubt. Remember, she had 33 pitches in her screams during an exorcism, 33 at the same time. That's humanly impossible. Impossible. Some people say it's 37. It doesn't matter. I mean, once you get past 5, it's superhuman. So there was something going on. Absolutely. No question. There was something going on. All right. This stupid thing. I don't know why I keep. I don't know. Come watch the Wesley Manor live. Yeah. I don't know anything about. I mean, if you're look, I don't know anything about Wesley. I don't mind people. I don't mind people advertising, but just kind of let me know that you're going to do that. Just out of respect. That because I don't go to other people's forum and start advertising for things that. So I just it's one of those things. It's out of respect. But okay. Oh yeah, I do believe animals are very, very sensitive to paranormal events. I have no doubt, no doubt about that at all. None. I have not watched The Fourth Kind, but I definitely need to. Now, I'm going to talk about something here, and I'm going to share something that I've never shared. This is the first time ever that I'll be sharing this. This came from an individual house where the wife and the husband were very heavily involved in voodoo. And not only were they involved in voodoo, but they were leaders in their voodoo community, church, etc. They, however, proudly also called upon and summoned demons. They believed they could control them and to do their bidding. They decided to conduct a ceremony and of try a necromancy, and they were trying to control this spirit with the help and aid of a demonic entity. So they were to summon this particular demonic entity to control this one particular human spirit that existed. That was their belief. And basically then through the demonic, this human spirit would respond or answer their questions. This family stopped very fast when they were getting some unbelievably aggressive and very violent behavior or activity in their home. It worked before in the past, or at least they claimed. But they did it one time. They were using a Ouija board. They were using a pendulum. They were using several things, bones, etc., to summon this demon that they've summoned before, to make contact with this spirit, to communicate with this spirit. The husband, during this ritual, when they called upon this demon, was alleged, I didn't see this, was alleged to be thrown 15 feet across the room. He landed in they had like a, I don't know, entertainment system kind of a thing. And he landed so hard in the entertainment system that it completely, he hit it so hard, everything went down. He was cut pretty badly because it had glass. It was primarily wooden, but it had glass, and he was flung so violently into this thing that apparently the whole glass just shattered. And this was heavy. This was a heavy entertainment center. That terrified them, absolutely terrified them, because this had never happened before. And the wife that was doing this practice along with the husband started getting cuts, like slashes, like someone had taken a razor and just was cutting. And she claims that there were 3 on each arm. And she couldn't, they literally, according to her, it would appear. They would just slash. So they contacted me. And this was, I want to say 4, maybe 5 years ago. I went down to Louisiana for 2 cases. For one case, to bless a man's home who said they had demonic. And then this home. I went into the home. And I spoke to the wife and the husband. They were very nice, very kind, respectful, and but they were able to explain everything in detail. And they had a couple animals, and one of the animals they claimed the leg, and they never go outside. This animal never goes outside except for to use the restroom because they treat this animal like their baby. He was just simply walking. No big deal. And this was I think 5-6-year-old dog, and walking towards the mother, and she saw his leg snap. Just snap in half. She heard it crack. She heard it just snapped. The dog was yelping in extreme pain, obviously. And the dog had never had issues ever before with bones, with being frail. This was a 5-year-old dog. This dog was in otherwise perfect health. It was not overweight. It was not a huge, 200-pound dog. It was just a regular, normal dog. And the leg on this dog, while this dog was coming towards her, snapped in half. The bone protruded out of the body, out of the leg, and I contacted their vet to verify the story. There was no at all proof of them breaking this bone. None. As a matter of fact, the vet said that if they would ever take another animal, they would give them the animal because they treat their animals better than they treat themselves. They treat the animals like their child. They really. This dog was terrible. Would not even consider going back into the living room. where the event took place, where the husband was thrown. It would whimper. So I was there. I saw the dog. It had healed by the time I got there, but I was sitting in the chair, and it would whimper. It wouldn't come close. It would just stay right, kind of like 10 feet away, and just whine. And I didn't understand what was going on. And I asked the wife, well, why is the dog, he's really upset? And she said, yeah, that's where the entertainment system was. That's where my husband was thrown. So I said, I need to know, in every little thing that you have that you use for this service, this sacrilegious service, I need to know everything. I need every item that you have. So I took the Ouija board. I took the pendulum. I took the bones that she used. And I also took this item. Now, this item has been blessed. And I'm going to turn the screen off so you guys can see it. There we go. This is one of the items that they used in this this thing that they were trying to use. I have never in my life seen something like this. Never. In all the 20 years that I've been doing this, I have never seen this. And they had a matching one, but it was a male figure, and it apparently cracked in half. So she threw it away. But this is apparently the female figure, and there was a male figure as well. So this was this family was terrified. This family was truly terrified. And everything that they told me, I was able to validate, and they were very kind. But that took. I performed the minor rite of exorcism, and that was intense. That was very, very intense. She felt attacked. Her husband felt attacked. All animals were removed, obviously, prior to performing the minor rite, because I didn't obviously want an animal to be the target again. And we heard growls, sulfur. We smelt rotten flesh during it, banging. It sounded like someone was outside taking a sledgehammer and hitting the side of the house as hard as they could. It was a very violent act. That was aggressive. That was probably one of the most aggressive demonic cases that I have worked. That was one of the most demonic cases that I have validated, because there's a lot of people claim there's a demon in my home, but I was there. I witnessed it. I saw it. I experienced it. All the signs were there, and it was pretty aggressive. So some people say, "Oh, tell us a case." Well, there's a case, but it's a pretty and I like to share these things with you, to tell you, because this stuff is real, and this is why I share it. I share it because I tell you, don't play with these things, because there are consequences for playing with them. And the consequences are, you introduce the possibility of a demonic to enter into your world. And when that happens, that's pretty dangerous. So please don't do that. Please don't do that. Blessing animals, absolutely. Yeah, I did. I was able to take, I was able to bless the home. It took, I had to stay an extra couple days. The family stayed at a hotel, because I advised them that this is not a good time. They should not be in the home. But we kept cameras there, just so we can document any type of evidence afterwards. It took, for the minor rite and the blessing of the ground, it took about a couple hours, only about 2.5 hours. And I completed that and used a lot of incense, with church incense, with the censer. And but even that night, the first night, we could hear bangings. We recorded several growls, some EVPs, death, some things like that. And so I had to go back and do it again. And so, but this time I spent a little bit longer. And I also did the Epiphany of the Doors. And again, we recorded it. Things were quiet. There was a few bangings, but we didn't have any growls or anything like that. And I went and the next day I performed the minor rite one more time. So that was pretty, yeah, holy water, salt, yep, things like that. But that was in Louisiana. Yeah, it's aggressive. It is aggressive. The Dybbuk box, you got to be. I own a Dybbuk box. You have to be careful with Dybbuk boxes. And I certainly would tell anybody. There's a lot of junk out there. By the way, there's a lot of people who claim to be selling Dybbuk boxes. They're not Dybbuk boxes. They're stupid. They're not even close to a Dybbuk box. They're just doing it just to make a buck, and they do it because it's a scary name, and then the people buy it. Don't do it. Don't buy those things. They're legitimate Dybbuk boxes are very, very rare. They're hard to find. I have a Dybbuk box. I have not opened it. But the reason is I have it because I took it from a home, because they brought it in. They did open it, and all hell broke loose in their home. And so they've asked me to remove it, and I did, and I sealed it. But that's, Dybbuk, it's one of those, you really shouldn't mess with it. How do you recover yourself afterwards? Protect yourself. Paula, I got to tell you something. After, it's exhausting. I mean, there have been times when I have performed an exorcism on an individual who was possessed, and I was so exhausted and so tired. And not only that, but it was just, I mean, I literally could soak my shirt out, wring my shirt out, and the sweat would fall off, because it's exhausting. It's very taxing on the body. That's why you always have an assistant when you're performing the solemn rite of exorcism. I always have I will never do this ever by myself. Never. That would never happen. But it's I don't know. It's scary stuff, because you have to be very, very careful, very careful. And if you don't, and if you're not careful, then you could really get yourself in trouble. And so that's kind of something that I'm not really interested in doing. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. We push forward. That's what we got to do. Okay. I didn't say, okay. Again, I don't know why this person keeps mentioning Wesley Manor. So let me just address this. I never said that Wesley Manor wasn't real. What I said was I've never been to Wesley Manor. That's what I said. And you have consistently posted Wesley Manor on my TikTok, which is what's spamming. That is what that is called. I don't know anything about Wesley Manor. I'm sure there's a lot of people, I've heard about it, and there's a lot of people who claim Wesley Manor is legitimate. I've never been. I would love to go. But before you keep promoting Wesley Manor, you should contact me first and say, Bishop Long, is it okay if I promote this event? And then I say, absolutely, you can. But you don't come on someone's TikTok or someone's live show and spam and promote without asking the person first. That's not what you do. That's disrespectful. Just like I wouldn't come on your TikTok and promote something that I'm doing without going to you and saying, is it okay if I promote this? That is common respect and decency. So I have said, again, I don't know Wesley Manor. I would love to go there, but I have not been there. So if the owner of Wesley Manor is watching, then perhaps we need to have a conversation, because spamming is rude and disrespectful. Man, I mean, just unbelievable. Common courtesy. That's right, Angie. It's common courtesy. Thank you, Angie. That's all it is. You don't go on people's social media and spam. That's what spamming is. It's just really just disturbing. Man, I just don't understand that. But I would love to go to Wesley Manor. I would love to. Well, need break. Okay, because if you go, how is it inviting, promoting? Because if you're promoting another event at someone's live or whatever they're doing, out of respect for that person, you should say, hey, look, is it okay if I promote this? Because if you don't and you just spam it, constantly state, come over Wesley Manor, come over Wesley Manor, like that person was doing, come over Wesley Manor, come. That's called spamming, and that's disrespectful. That's why you don't do that. So out of common, just like I don't do it, I would never go to someone's live show and start promoting an event that I'm doing unless I ask that person first. Is it okay if I mention this? The person would say yes, or the person would say no. Again, that is called common courtesy. And the fact that I have to explain that is problematic. I don't get it. The common courtesy. I mean, what in the heck? Oh, anyway, but I have never been to Wesley Manor, and I'll say it again for the 10th time. I would love to go. It might be fantastic. I would love to go to Wesley Manor, but I've not been invited. So maybe if the owner of Wesley Manor, give me a call. I'll be more than happy. Love to go visit. But before you start spamming and promoting an event on my TikTok, please ask me first. That's called respect. That's all it is. Yep, Malachi Martin. I do like Malachi. Very, very good guy. By the way, I just, in the fact that I have to explain this, what happened to common courtesy? What happened to that? It seemed like, anyway, can you, well, what event is it? Yeah. What event is it? As long as it's not disrespectful. Yeah. Person says, can I promote an event on your TikTok? There we go. Yeah. Just as long. Yeah. Just again, that's it. You know, I have never gone to someone's page while they're doing a live and promote an event that I've done. I've never done it. Never would. I would always ask them first. Again, it's just respect. Okay. Listen to this. By the way, new paranormal series feature Montana Ghost Town. If those of you who are in, oh yeah, Malachi Martin said the smoke of Satan had entered the Vatican. Is it still there or worse? It certainly has. I believe it has, because there's been a lot of evil that has been done, unfortunately, in the Vatican. As a matter of fact, it was the Vatican has had some. They've cleaned house. But it was at one time there was issues there. Yeah, there was very issues. A reincarnation. I don't. Here's the problem with reincarnation. Well, there's a lot of people being blocked. Oh, you work at the Stanley. Oh, then I want to go to the Stanley. I would love to go to the Stanley. Are you kidding me? That would be that's a definite place. Malachi Martin was a former Roman Catholic exorcist, and he left Rome and continued performing exorcism. Bobby Mackey's been there several times. By the way, Montana is filled with reminders of the past, remnants of booming mining towns scattered all over the state. A river, rock foundations, old boardwalks, barns, brothels, and hotels, all providing a glimpse into the past. Now, 7 years ago, this person wrote an article, and I want to give credit where credit is due so that you can know where it is. This is actually is a very cool. I don't know if you guys know much about Montana. This is Credit, the travel channel via YouTube. So that's where this is coming from. So it says here, 7 years ago, my brother purchased 40 acres of property near the town of Linnet, Montana. I've heard Montana is beautiful. Never been. The property just so happened to be a portion of a former silver mining boomtown called Castletown. The chunk of property he bought appears to be the smelter plant for the ore, as well as a few residential homes. Now, we didn't think much about the possibility that owning a chunk of a ghost town would actually have ghosts. But shortly after buying the property, my brother found himself alone in his camper taking a nap. He says he woke up to the feeling of his bed sheets being tucked in around him and someone sitting on the bed. He claimed it was almost like my wife was tucking me in before climbing into bed, but no one was there. Well, that's interesting. A new paranormal investigation series. Here it is, everybody. So you've heard it here. A new paranormal investigation series is coming soon to Travel Channel. Unlike other paranormal shows, this series doesn't involve people traveling to haunted locations all over the world. The entire series is focused on one location, a ghost town called Gunslinger Gulch near Anaconda, Montana. Well, that sounds interesting. It is a 6-episode series, follows paranormal investigator Tim Wood, great guy, and his team as they uncover some really dark details about Gunslinger Gulch. Well, they got a great team. Tim Wood is respected in the field. His team is solid, so they got a good team. What I mean by that is, they don't think everything's demons. They try to use the evidence that they have to determine if something is legitimate, and I like that a lot. Now, so the new series, Ghost Town Terror, that's the name, everybody. So write that down. Ghost Town Terror is set to premiere on March the 11th on the Travel Channel and Discovery Plus. That is going to be very cool. Congratulations to Tim Wood and his team. I'm sure they're going to capture some pretty amazing evidence. No doubt about that. It sounds pretty interesting. It really does. Sounds very, very interesting. I want to remind everybody, we're not going yet, but do me a favor. Don't forget to go to kgradb.com, because my buddy Angela, look, if you don't know Miss Perrin, okay, you need to know Miss Perrin. If you don't know her, then do it. She is one of the most amazing people. Yeah, I know. Angela, hold on one second. Hold on. Yeah, Angela, hold. She is one of the most amazing. Sorry, I'm just getting a message from a person named Angela who wants me to answer a question. Hold on, Angela. But Miss Perrin, she goes, why are you calling me Miss Perrin? Andrea is great. She grew up in the Conjuring house, and she is, it's her, but she lives in the light. She truly does radiate light. You know what I mean? And I love promoting her and her shows because she's a legitimate, great human being. And what she experienced living in the Conjuring house, my Lord, it's pretty interesting. So her show is coming up here pretty soon. Okay, Angela. So I talked about a case earlier about Louisiana, and that was an exhausting case. Yeah. Okay. I know this stupid thing keeps going. All right, let's see what her book, Tracy, you're right. Her books, Andrea Perrin, her books are great. Her books are phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out, you need to go to Google and type in Andrea Perrin. That's Perron. Perron. And Dead Files. I know the host. I met the host there. They're great. I love them. I tell you what, they're just, the people who really, really are top-notch people, I will promote them all day long, because they're just class. They're just top class people, just top class. Okay. Yep, it was Andrea. Yeah, and so it's pretty cool. Most confusing paranormal experience. I definitely would have to say the confusing, definitely. That's a good question. It was at the gates of hell when we saw that creature. I don't know what it is to this day. It bothers me because I can't put that kind of thing on. I don't know, and it really bothers me. Yep, she does. She has her own fan page too. House of Darkness, House of Light. Yep, by Andrea Perrin. Great. I mean, really, if you want to know anything about The Conjuring, look, if you really want to know the true story of The Conjuring, then buy the book from the person who was there. I mean, seriously, that is absolutely I cannot endorse that even more strongly. The person who lived there is the person who can tell you the true story. And Andrea lived there. House of Darkness, House of Light. So check it out. Andrea Perrin, Perron. Okay, how realistic is The Exorcist? The Exorcist, the movie actually is pretty legitimate. Obviously, the spinning of the head and all that stuff, that obviously didn't occur. But the throwing up, the pea soup, that actually is very real. And the reason is because the demonic doesn't want a substance of life to enter the body. And so the person can become very violently sick, and they regurgitate violently. And that does occur. Yeah, Andrea, by the way, Andrea is next, following the Sacred Division. And so definitely check that out. And again, KGRADB. You can also go to YouTube. I believe that's right. You can go to YouTube, and on Facebook, you can go there. You can go, okay, thanks. You can go to YouTube as well, KGRADB. All right. So make sure, stay, because you're going to love her show. She always does amazing shows. KGRADB on Facebook or YouTube. Look that up. And she's going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 10 minutes from now. All right. For those of you, I'm going to ask you a question in just a second. For those of you who are on Spreaker, I'm going to say good night to you guys. Okay, we're just kind of wrapping slowly things up. We don't worry, we're not jumping off yet. I want to remind everybody, please do me a great big favor. Make sure you go to bishopjameslong.com, bishopjameslong.com, and scroll down, make whatever donation you want. I'm going to contact Wesley Manor, and I'm going to speak to the owners there. I'll deal with that issue. And so we're going to go from that. I am curious, very quickly, with the time that we have left, what is the scariest movie you guys have ever watched? I would love to know that. What is the scariest movie you have ever watched? I don't like closed spaces. So like The Cave. Oh, that's terrible. That caused me severe anxiety. Exorcist. That's funny. Okay. Godfather Scooby says Showgirls. That's great. That is great. The Exorcist, The Legacy, Shining, Freddy Krueger, The Ring. Well, thank you very much, Susie. Thank you. The Right, The Descent. Oh, The Descent. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Devil's Reject, Blair Witch was brilliant. It truly was. It was an amazing, amazing movie. The Nun made me scream. I have not seen that. I have not seen The Conjuring, The Exorcist, Sinister. Yeah, Rosemary's Baby. Yeah, they don't make them anymore. Stigmata. I got to say this. The Stigmata. A lot of people ask me about that. Stigmata is not considered a curse. So the whole idea of that, the movie The Stigmata, it was a curse on this girl because she didn't want it. Stigmata doesn't occur that way. Stigmata occurs to people who are very pious, very, very pious, very, very faithful, and they see this as a blessing. They see this as God using them to let people know about the crucifixion, that it was real. They don't see it as a curse. So the whole Stigmata movie, the whole theology of it is so backward kind of a thing. Oh, Halloween classic. You gotta love that. The Hills Have Eyes. That was terrible. Don't forget, Shannon Long 30 is going live on TikTok tonight. So make sure you also, if you're on TikTok, she's going to join. I don't know, Shannon, are you going to join pretty quickly? But for those of you who are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, TikTok, I'll be with you guys in a second. For those of you who are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and Twitch, I want to thank you guys for being here. Remember that your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You're priceless, and never let anybody tell you otherwise. God bless. The Sacred Division has been brought to you by Bishop Long's online paranormal course. Learn demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. It's 100% online, and you learn at your own pace. Please go to www.bishopjameslong.com and click on the paranormal course link.